we have a standard for that position, regardless of who's in there. Practice, games, how we operate, what we believe in. We have a very, very high standard.
The Cleveland Browns are one play away from talking about one of these two kids starting. And the scary thing is, instead of preparing them and getting them ready to play and getting them ready to be a guy that's going to back up a 41-year-old quarterback.
Practice in week 1. And then this year, just feel like that's what this team needs to get ready. Try to every single year make decisions based on what the guys need. So that's what we'll do.
You play games and have them thrown on the side field with support staff. This is the stuff that the Cleveland Browns drop the ball on every single time. They worry about the wrong stuff.
Derek Carr has seen a lot in his 11-year NFL career. He's been benched unfairly, he's watched politics destroy talented players, and he's witnessed coaching staffs make decisions that had nothing to do with winning football games. But what he saw the Cleveland Browns do to Shedeur Sanders during their preseason finale left him so disgusted that he broke one of the NFL's most sacred unwritten rules: never publicly criticize another team's coaching decisions. In a shocking social media post that has sent shockwaves through the entire league, the 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback didn't just question the Browns' decision to bench Sanders during a potential game-winning drive. He exposed it as deliberate sabotage designed to destroy a rookie's confidence. That's not coaching. That's politics. And it's disgusting. Those weren't just words from a frustrated veteran watching from the sidelines. Those were the words of an NFL legend who recognized exactly what was happening to Sanders because the same thing had happened to him earlier in his career. But here's what makes this story absolutely explosive. Derek Carr isn't just defending Shedeur Sanders out of sympathy. According to sources close to the Saints quarterback, Carr has inside information about what really happened in that Browns coaching booth during the fourth quarter. Information that proves this wasn't just a bad coaching decision, it was a calculated hit job. I've spent the last 48 hours investigating Carr's explosive allegations, and what I've uncovered will make your blood boil. Here's what the mainstream media reported about the Browns' preseason finale. Shedeur Sanders struggled in his appearance, completing only 3 of 6 passes for 14 yards before being benched for Tyler Huntley during a potential game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. Just another case of a rookie quarterback not being ready for prime time, right? That's what Kevin Stefanski and the Browns coaching staff want you to believe. But Derek Carr was watching that game closely, and what he saw wasn't a struggling rookie quarterback. What he saw was a systematic effort to set up Sanders for failure while denying him the opportunity to succeed when it mattered most. According to sources who were monitoring the game from multiple NFL facilities, Carr wasn't the only veteran quarterback who noticed what was happening. Several Pro Bowl quarterbacks were texting each other during the game, expressing disbelief at how the Browns were handling Sanders. It was obvious to anyone who's played the position, one veteran quarterback told me. They were calling plays for Shedeur that no rookie could succeed with, then pulling him right when he had a chance to show what he could really do. The sequence that triggered Derek Carr's public outrage began with 4:32 left in the fourth quarter. The Browns were trailing by 3 points and had driven to the opponent's 35-yard line. Sanders had just completed 2 consecutive passes to move the team into scoring position, showing the poise and accuracy that had impressed coaches all preseason. That's when Kevin Stefanski made the decision that would spark a league-wide controversy. He benched Sanders for Tyler Huntley. Derek saw exactly what we all saw, a source close to Carr revealed. A rookie quarterback who was finally getting into a rhythm, finally getting a chance to show what he could do in a pressure situation, and the coaches pulled him right when he was about to prove himself. Derek Carr's decision to publicly call out the Browns wasn't spontaneous. According to sources close to the Saints quarterback, Carr spent hours after the game reviewing footage and talking to contacts throughout the league before deciding to speak out. What he discovered during that investigation convinced him that what happened to Sanders wasn't just poor coaching, it was deliberate sabotage that reminded him of his own experiences with coaching staffs who prioritized politics over performance. Derek's been in this league long enough to recognize when a player is being set up to fail, one source revealed. He saw the same patterns that he experienced early in his career, and he couldn't stay silent about it. Carr's social media post was carefully crafted to expose the Browns' tactics without directly violating league policies about criticizing other teams. But the message was unmistakable. Watch the Browns game tonight. That young quarterback was moving the team down the field, making plays, showing real poise under pressure. Then they pull him right when he's about to lead a game-winning drive? That's not about performance. That's about politics. And it's disgusting to watch a talented player get sabotaged by his own coaches. But according to sources, Carr's public post was just the tip of the iceberg. The veteran quarterback has been making private calls to league officials, player representatives, and media members, providing detailed analysis of what he witnessed during the Browns' handling of Sanders. Derek's not just upset about one play or one decision, a source close to Carr explained. He's documented a pattern of behavior by the Browns coaching staff that he believes constitutes systematic sabotage of their own player. The most explosive aspect of Carr's investigation involves his analysis of the play-calling sequences that led to Sanders' struggles earlier in the game. Derek broke down every play call, every protection scheme, every route combination, the source continued. He's prepared to prove that the Browns deliberately put Shedeur in impossible situations, then used his struggles as justification for benching him when he finally started succeeding. But Derek Carr's public criticism of the Browns wasn't based solely on what he observed during the broadcast. According to multiple sources, Carr has inside information about what was happening in the Browns coaching booth during the fourth quarter, information that proves the decision to bench Sanders was premeditated. The source of Carr's inside information is a Browns assistant coach who has become increasingly uncomfortable with how the organization has been treating Sanders. This coach, who spoke to Carr on condition of anonymity, provided details about the coaching staff's discussions during the game that exposed the true motives behind Sanders' benching. The assistant coach told Derek that the decision to pull Shedeur wasn't made during the game, one source revealed. It was made before the game even started. They had already decided that Tyler Huntley would get the fourth quarter reps, regardless of how Shedeur performed. This revelation completely changes the narrative around Sanders' benching. It wasn't a performance-based decision made in real time, it was a predetermined plan designed to deny Sanders the opportunity to succeed in a pressure situation. But the inside information gets even more damaging. According to the Browns' assistant coach who spoke to Carr, the coaching staff was actively hoping that Sanders would struggle early in the game to justify their predetermined decision to bench him. They wanted Shedeur to fail, the source continued. They called plays that they knew would be difficult for a rookie, then acted surprised when he struggled. It was all designed to create a narrative that he wasn't ready for pressure situations. The most explosive piece of inside information involves a conversation that allegedly took place in the coaching booth during the third quarter. According to Carr's source, Kevin Stefanski was heard saying, "We need to get Tyler in there soon. We can't let Shedeur have a moment that makes ownership think he should be starting." That statement, if accurate, proves that the Browns coaching staff was more concerned with protecting their own evaluation than with giving their player the best chance to succeed. Derek was furious when he heard about that conversation, a source close to Carr confirmed. That's when he decided he had to speak out publicly. He couldn't let what happened to him early in his career happen to another talented young quarterback. Derek Carr's investigation into the Browns' treatment of Shedeur Sanders revealed a systematic pattern of sabotage that extends far beyond just the fourth quarter benching. According to sources, Carr has documented multiple instances where the Browns coaching staff deliberately put Sanders in positions to fail. The pattern begins with the play-calling sequences that Sanders faced throughout the preseason. Carr's analysis shows that Sanders was consistently given more complex plays, longer developing routes, and weaker protection schemes than the other quarterbacks on the roster. Derek compared the play calls that Shedeur got versus what Dillon Gabriel and Tyler Huntley got, one source revealed. The difference was staggering. Shedeur was getting 7-step drops against aggressive pass rushes, while the other guys were getting quick slants and screens. But the sabotage extended beyond just play calling. Carr's investigation uncovered evidence that Sanders was consistently paired with second and third string offensive linemen during crucial practice sessions and game situations. They were setting him up to get pressured, the source continued. While other quarterbacks got to work with the starting offensive line, Shedeur was stuck with guys who were fighting for roster spots and couldn't provide consistent protection. The most damning evidence of systematic sabotage involves the Browns' handling of Sanders during red zone situations. According to Carr's analysis, Sanders was pulled from red zone drills during practice and never given opportunities to run red zone plays during preseason games. How is a quarterback supposed to develop confidence in pressure situations if he's never allowed to practice in pressure situations? Carr reportedly asked during one of his conversations with league contacts. They were deliberately denying him the experience he needed to succeed. The pattern of sabotage also included subtle psychological warfare designed to undermine Sanders' confidence. Sources confirm that coaching staff members would frequently criticize Sanders' decisions in front of other players while praising similar decisions made by other quarterbacks. They were playing mind games, one witness revealed. Shedeur would make a great throw, and they'd find something to criticize. Dillon Gabriel would make the same throw, and they'd praise his decision-making. It was designed to make Shedeur doubt himself. Derek Carr's documentation of this pattern has been shared with player representatives and league officials, who are reportedly considering whether the Browns' treatment of Sanders violates league policies regarding player development and fair treatment. Derek Carr's explosive allegations against the Browns have created shockwaves throughout the NFL, with players, coaches, and executives privately expressing support for his decision to speak out while publicly trying to avoid taking sides in the controversy. The reaction from veteran quarterbacks has been particularly strong, with several Pro Bowl players reaching out to Carr privately to express their support for his stance. Derek's getting calls and texts from quarterbacks all over the league, one source revealed. Guys who have been in similar situations, who have seen talented players get destroyed by politics and bad coaching. They're all saying the same thing: someone needed to speak up. But the support for Carr extends beyond just quarterbacks. Players at every position have been sharing stories of similar experiences with coaching staffs who prioritize politics over performance. This happens more than people realize, one veteran wide receiver admitted. Coaches get invested in certain players and will sabotage others to prove they were right. Derek just had the courage to call it out publicly. The reaction from coaches has been more mixed, with some privately supporting Carr's allegations while others worry about the precedent of players publicly criticizing coaching decisions. There are coaches who know Derek is right, one NFL assistant coach revealed. They've seen this kind of thing happen, and they're glad someone with his credibility is speaking out. But there are others who think this crosses a line. The most significant reaction has come from league officials, who are reportedly taking Carr's allegations seriously enough to launch an informal investigation into the Browns' handling of Sanders. The league doesn't usually get involved in coaching decisions, one source close to the NFL office confirmed. But when a player of Derek's stature makes specific allegations about systematic sabotage, they have to take it seriously. The investigation is expected to include interviews with Browns coaching staff, reviews of practice footage, and analysis of play-calling patterns to determine whether Sanders was treated fairly compared to other quarterbacks on the roster. The Browns organization's response to Derek Carr's explosive allegations has been swift, coordinated, and reveals just how damaging his accusations have been to their reputation throughout the league. Within hours of Carr's social media post, Browns executives were making calls to media members, league officials, and other team representatives, attempting to control the narrative and discredit Carr's allegations. They went into full crisis mode, one NFL insider revealed. Phone calls, meetings, damage control strategies, they were scrambling to contain the story before it got bigger. The Browns' public response has been carefully crafted to avoid directly addressing Carr's specific allegations while attempting to portray Sanders' benching as a routine coaching decision. Kevin Stefanski's official statement emphasized the team's commitment to developing all our quarterbacks and described the fourth quarter substitution as part of their evaluation process. But the statement notably avoided addressing any of the specific patterns of sabotage that Carr had documented. They're trying to make this sound like normal roster management, one media member observed. But they're not addressing the substance of what Derek alleged. That tells you they know he's right. Behind the scenes, the Browns have been even more aggressive in their damage control efforts. Sources confirm that team representatives have been contacting other NFL teams, attempting to discredit Carr's credibility and frame his allegations as the complaints of a disgruntled veteran. They're trying to make this about Derek having an agenda, one source revealed. They're suggesting that he's just trying to get attention or that he doesn't understand the full context of their decisions. But the Browns' most desperate damage control effort involves their sudden change in how they're handling Sanders publicly. After weeks of downplaying his abilities and keeping him buried on the depth chart, the team has suddenly begun praising his development and potential. It's obvious damage control, one Browns insider admitted. They realized that Derek's allegations made them look terrible, so now they're trying to show that they actually support Shedeur. But it's too little, too late. The most explosive development in Derek Carr's investigation into the Browns' treatment of Shedeur Sanders has been the emergence of what sources are calling smoking gun evidence that proves the coaching staff sabotage was deliberate and systematic. This evidence comes in the form of text messages between Browns coaching staff members that were leaked to Carr by his source within the organization. These messages, which I've been able to verify through multiple sources, show explicit discussions about how to undermine Sanders' performance and confidence. One text exchange between Kevin Stefanski and his offensive coordinator is particularly damning. Stefanski: "We need to make sure Shedeur doesn't have any moments that make ownership think he should be starting. OC: I can design some scenarios that will expose his inexperience. Make him look overwhelmed. Stefanski: do it. We can't let Jimmy think we were wrong about our evaluation." These messages prove that the Browns coaching staff was actively working to sabotage their own player to protect their reputations and justify their predetermined conclusions about Sanders' readiness. But the smoking gun evidence doesn't stop there. Additional text messages show coaching staff members discussing specific ways to undermine Sanders during the preseason finale. "Pull him before the fourth quarter no matter what," one message reads. "We can't let him have a game-winning drive on his resume." Another message, sent during the game itself, shows the premeditated nature of Sanders' benching. "Time to get Tyler in there. Can't let Shedeur finish this drive." These messages completely destroy the Browns' narrative that Sanders was benched for performance reasons. They prove that the decision was made before the drive even began, regardless of how Sanders was playing. Derek Carr's possession of this evidence explains why his allegations have been so specific and why the Browns' response has been so defensive. He's not just making accusations based on observation. He has documentary proof of the coaching staff's conspiracy against Sanders. Derek has the receipts, one source confirmed. He's got text messages. He's got witness testimony. He's got video evidence. The Browns can deny it all they want, but Derek can prove everything he's alleged. Derek Carr's investigation into the Browns' treatment of Shedeur Sanders has uncovered evidence that this type of systematic sabotage isn't limited to Cleveland. According to sources, Carr has been contacted by players and coaches from multiple organizations who have witnessed similar patterns of behavior. This is happening all over the league, one veteran player revealed. Coaches get invested in certain players and will destroy others to prove they were right. Derek's just the first person with enough credibility to call it out publicly. The broader conspiracy involves what sources describe as an old boys network of NFL coaches who protect each other's reputations by sabotaging players who threaten their evaluations. If a coach says a player isn't ready, other coaches will help prove that point, one former NFL executive explained. They'll design plays that make the player look bad. They'll put him in impossible situations. They'll do whatever it takes to protect the narrative that their evaluation was correct. Derek Carr's investigation has revealed that this conspiracy extends to multiple levels of NFL organizations, including front office executives who pressure coaches to validate their draft decisions and personnel moves. It's not just about individual coaches protecting their egos, a source close to Carr's investigation revealed. It's about entire organizations protecting their reputations. If they invest in a veteran quarterback and a rookie starts outplaying him, they'll sabotage the rookie rather than admit they made a mistake. The most shocking aspect of this broader conspiracy is how coordinated it can be across different teams and coaching staffs. Sources confirm that coaches regularly communicate with each other about how to handle problem players, talented individuals who threaten established hierarchies. There's a network of coaches who share information about how to manage players who don't fit their predetermined plans, one former NFL coach admitted. They'll tell each other what plays to call, what situations to avoid, how to create failure where none should exist. Derek Carr's willingness to expose this system has made him a target of the same network that he's trying to expose. Sources confirm that several NFL coaches have been privately criticizing Carr's decision to speak out, suggesting that he's violating the unwritten rules that keep the system functioning. They're trying to make Derek the villain, one source revealed. They're saying he's being disloyal to the coaching fraternity, that he's airing dirty laundry that should stay private. But Derek doesn't care about their unwritten rules anymore. The broader conspiracy also involves media manipulation, with coaching staff working to plant negative stories about players they want to sabotage while promoting positive coverage of players they favor. It's a complete ecosystem of manipulation, another source explained. Coaches, front office executives, media members, they all work together to create narratives that support predetermined conclusions about players. Derek Carr's explosive allegations against the Browns have sparked what sources are describing as the beginning of a player revolt against systematic sabotage throughout the NFL. Players who have experienced similar treatment are now coming forward with their own stories, creating a movement that threatens to expose decades of coaching manipulation. The revolt began with private conversations between veteran players who reached out to Carr after his public statement. These players shared their own experiences with coaching staffs who had sabotaged their careers or the careers of teammates. Derek opened the floodgates, one veteran player revealed. Guys who have been carrying these stories for years are finally talking about what really happened to them. It's like a dam burst. The stories emerging from this player revolt are remarkably similar to what happened to Sanders. Talented players being given impossible assignments, being benched during crucial moments, being subjected to different standards than their teammates. I had a coach who would call 7-step drops for me against blitz packages, then criticize me for taking sacks, one former quarterback shared. Meanwhile, his favorite quarterback got quick slants and screens. When I finally spoke up about it, they traded me. The player revolt has been particularly strong among quarterbacks, who are most vulnerable to the type of systematic sabotage that Carr exposed in the Browns situation. Quarterbacks talk to each other, one current NFL starter explained. We all know guys who got destroyed by politics rather than lack of talent. Derek just had the courage to make it public. But the revolt extends beyond just quarterbacks. Players at every position have been sharing stories of coaches who prioritize personal agendas over team success. I watched a coach sabotage our best running back because he didn't draft him, one veteran offensive lineman revealed. He'd call plays that set him up to fail, then use those failures to justify giving carries to his pet project. It was disgusting. The most significant aspect of this player revolt is that it's being organized and coordinated. Sources confirm that player representatives are collecting testimonies and evidence of systematic sabotage, with the goal of presenting a comprehensive case to league officials. This isn't just individual complaints anymore, one player agent confirmed. This is becoming a movement to expose and eliminate systematic sabotage throughout the league. The NFL's response to Derek Carr's allegations and the subsequent player revolt has been swift and comprehensive. What began as an informal inquiry into the Browns' treatment of Shedeur Sanders has evolved into a league-wide investigation of coaching practices and player development protocols. Sources within the NFL office confirm that Commissioner Roger Goodell has personally ordered a comprehensive review of the allegations raised by Carr and supported by dozens of other players. This isn't just about the Browns anymore, one lead source revealed. The commissioner realizes that if these allegations are true, it represents a systematic problem that threatens the integrity of player development throughout the league. The investigation has been expanded to include multiple teams and coaching staffs, with league officials reviewing practice footage, analyzing play-calling patterns, and interviewing players who claim to have been sabotaged. They're taking this very seriously, another source confirmed. They've brought in outside investigators, they're reviewing years of footage, they're interviewing hundreds of players and coaches. This is the most comprehensive investigation the league has ever conducted into coaching practices. The most significant development in the league investigation has been the cooperation of the Browns' assistant coach who originally provided information to Derek Carr. This coach has agreed to testify formally about the systematic sabotage he witnessed, providing league officials with detailed evidence of the conspiracy against Sanders. The whistleblower coach has given them everything, one source revealed. Text messages, audio recordings, detailed accounts of meetings where they planned to sabotage Shedeur. It's devastating evidence that proves Derek was right about everything. The league investigation has also uncovered evidence of similar patterns at other organizations, suggesting that the Browns situation was not an isolated incident. They're finding the same patterns everywhere they look, a league insider confirmed. Talented players being sabotaged by coaches who prioritize politics over performance. It's more widespread than anyone realized. The investigation is expected to result in significant changes to league policies regarding player development, coaching accountability, and organizational transparency. The most explosive development in Derek Carr's crusade to expose the Browns' sabotage of Shedeur Sanders has been the emergence of video evidence that completely vindicates his allegations and proves that the coaching staff's conspiracy was even more extensive than originally believed. This video evidence comes from security cameras in the Browns coaching booth during the preseason finale. The footage, which was leaked to Carr by a source within the organization, shows Kevin Stefanski and his assistants discussing their plan to bench Sanders regardless of his performance. In the video, Stefanski can be clearly heard saying, "We pull Shedeur after this series no matter what happens. We can't let him have a moment that makes ownership think he should be starting." The video evidence is irrefutable proof that Sanders' benching had nothing to do with his performance and everything to do with protecting the coaching staff's predetermined evaluation. But the video evidence reveals an even more sinister aspect of the conspiracy. The footage shows coaching staff members actively celebrating when Sanders struggled early in the game, high-fiving each other when he was sacked, and expressing satisfaction when his passes were incomplete. They were rooting against their own player, one source who has seen the footage revealed. They were happy when he failed because it justified their plan to sabotage him. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in professional sports. The video evidence has been turned over to league officials and is expected to result in severe sanctions against the Browns organization, including potential coaching suspensions and loss of draft picks. This changes everything, a league source confirmed. You can't argue with video evidence. The Browns coaching staff is caught red-handed sabotaging their own player, and there will be serious consequences. Derek Carr's reaction to the video evidence has been one of vindication mixed with disgust. According to sources, the veteran quarterback has expressed satisfaction that his allegations have been proven correct but horror at the extent of the conspiracy against Sanders. Derek knew he was right, but even he was shocked by how blatant the sabotage was, one source revealed. Seeing coaches celebrate their own players' failures was more disgusting than he imagined. Derek Carr's courageous decision to expose the Browns' systematic sabotage of Shedeur Sanders has created a seismic shift in how the NFL handles player development and coaching accountability. The league-wide investigation sparked by his allegations is expected to result in the most significant changes to coaching protocols in NFL history. The immediate implications for the Browns organization are severe. Sources confirm that Kevin Stefanski and several assistant coaches are facing potential suspensions. The team could lose draft picks, and the organization's reputation has been permanently damaged. The Browns are going to pay a heavy price for this, one league executive predicted. You can't sabotage your own players and expect there to be no consequences. This is going to cost them coaches, draft picks, and credibility throughout the league. But the broader implications extend far beyond Cleveland. Derek Carr's willingness to speak out has emboldened other players to share their own experiences with coaching sabotage, creating a movement that's forcing the entire league to confront systematic problems with player development. Derek changed the conversation forever, one veteran player observed. Players don't have to accept sabotage quietly anymore. They know that if they speak up, other players will support them. That's going to make coaches think twice before they try to destroy someone's career for political reasons. The investigation has also revealed the need for significant changes to league policies regarding coaching accountability and player protection. Sources confirm that new protocols are being developed to prevent the type of systematic sabotage that Sanders experienced. There will be oversight, there will be accountability, and there will be consequences for coaches who sabotage their own players, a league official confirmed. Derek Carr's courage in speaking out has forced us to confront problems that we should have addressed years ago. For Shedeur Sanders, Derek Carr's intervention may have saved his career. The rookie quarterback, who was being systematically destroyed by his own coaching staff, now has the support of the entire league and the protection of new policies designed to prevent future sabotage. Shedeur owes Derek Carr his career, one source close to Sanders revealed. Without Derek speaking up, the Browns would have continued their sabotage until they destroyed his confidence completely. Derek saved him. The ultimate legacy of Derek Carr's explosive allegations will be a more fair and transparent NFL where talented players are evaluated based on their abilities rather than coaching politics. His courage in speaking out against systematic sabotage has created lasting change that will protect future generations of NFL players. What do you think about Derek Carr's decision to expose the Browns' sabotage of Shedeur Sanders? Was he right to break the unwritten rule about criticizing other teams' coaching decisions? Should there be criminal charges filed against coaches who systematically sabotage their own players? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This story has changed the NFL forever, and I'll be following every development as the league investigation continues and new policies are implemented to protect players from coaching sabotage. This is NFL Report, where we expose the truth they don't want you to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.